Thanks for watching. I'm UIM, and this is my guide for making mithril plate bodies at Blast Furnace. This is truly the best smithing XP and GP per hour for UIM level 3. It may not be the best for irons, however, I do think that because it's profit, it is totally worthwhile. Now, there are a couple things that you are going to need to get started. First and foremost, you're going to need the coal bag because that's 100 golden nuggets. Not very fun to get as a UIM, but very useful during this. And yeah, straightforward to get that. The second thing I recommend is to have ice gloves. Now, you don't need to necessarily have the full smithing outfit, the tunic, the trousers, and the boots and gloves from the Giant's Foundry minigame, but I would at least have ice gloves, and I do have a guide about that. I will include that in the links below. And with that, you can put it into the smith gloves. It slots in and makes it imbued with ice gloves. And that just makes it a lot faster. You also could have the Mkando hammer. It's definitely beneficial since you can wield it, but you don't have to have that. You can use a regular hammer, of course, in your inventory. And ideally, you would suicide or in Hespori or in Volcanic Mine so that you could have a clear inventory. It is safe. You don't have to leave here. That's one benefit over Giant's Foundry, and then you'll make a lot more money, which is the other benefit over Giant's Foundry. The last thing you'll need also, and you can see it in the right hand corner, is an alt. And my alt is right here, though very small, and it'll stay traded on Jorzik. All I have is GP, and what I'm going to be doing on that alt is always when I start checking the store of the exact world that I'm going to be on for Blast Furnace. So pick whatever Blast Furnace worlds you want, make sure it's favorited, and that's where your alt will sit in the armor store, buying the mithril plate bodies that your UIM level 3 is going to make. So that's essentially all that it does. On the way to 99, you should spend maybe around 100 mil GP on an alt, which is pretty much nothing on a normal account nowadays in terms of making that. But yeah, really easy way to just clear out the stores so that when you're selling it, you're getting the best value you can so that you can actually profit. Even though it's not much, it adds up over time, and it definitely is far more profit than Giant's Foundry and a lot more mindless than Giant's Foundry, which can be pretty annoying when you're trying to make sure that the sword quality is correct and you kind of have to go around and hop worlds to get plate bodies anyways, or use an alt to get plate bodies or plate legs anyways, and then come back. So I would say this is even more relaxing and enjoyable. Now, the recommended situation here is to have like 10 to 15 worlds and set up a number of things. First, you'll use the plugin to set up on the left-hand side. You can see the inventory, so that way I can always see what my mithril bars are turning to plate bodies and the speed. I also have an additional plugin that'll show like the amount of time before the entire thing is done, like an action bar, if you will. And then I also have my F keys bound so that I can go to my inventory, and F1 is going to go to the world logout. So that way I can get between the two really easily. And then you'll also set up, obviously, the Jorzik armor store to be able to one-click sell all your mithril plate bodies. And right now you can see any default world starts with 10, so all you're going to be doing on the alt is just buying the 10 to clear it out so that we can actually make profit. Now, Ordan here on all of the other worlds is an iron only store, so the inventory of the ore you're going to be buying is the coal and the mithril, and you can see I'm also using screen markers. I think it's just a little bit helpful. You don't need them, but I can kind of zone out a little bit more while I'm doing this because of it. And what we'll do is, since we're on a world that isn't the Blast Furnace world right now, we'll buy our coal, fill it up, buy it again, and we're using escape to get out. And then we're going to use shift click to empty. And I like to do another one and then the final one mithril. Now you don't have to do all of those. I just like to do that. I don't really mind not making like perfect profit. And then I will come over here while I'm pressing F key and I'll go to the Blast Furnace world. And when we switch to this world, it'll actually make all of that into the bars. We don't have to pay for any GP at Blast Furnace. You can see it's a 750 XP drop, spacebar to get all your mithril bars. You're leaving the current world up because you're going to use that. Spacebar to make those plate bodies or click it, which is why that screen marker's there. And it's 250 XP per, and you can see up here it's forging those, and it lets me know how many ticks are left. Then I trade Jorzik. I click to sell all those. I escape out. I come over here, and then you pick a world of your choice that you haven't been to yet. And it tends to be around like 10 to 15 worlds. And then I'm buying those on the alt on that same world. It just stays there and repeating the process. So it's relatively easy. Obviously, you're going to be buying some ore, so you're going to always go down a little bit when you're buying all of that ore for the next round, but you're profiting overall. As you can see, I try to click it once I get to the very bottom, so that way the world hopper works just in that time frame. And also it takes like a second before you can take the bars from the dispensers, so the timing of it is pretty smooth. And that's pretty much all there is to it. I started off doing this at 80 smithing, and I'm at 85, and it's been really quick. I set a goal of something pretty small, like 200k smithing XP to get to 99, and I'm already at 85, and I've already got almost 4 million GP from it, which is pretty incredible when you think about it, just because of the fact that, yeah, I didn't really plan on this being a major method that I was going to use in terms of thinking that I wouldn't need to do smithing. I figured I would do it for smithing, but only because it was going to be a fast method, not because I needed the GP for 99 con and craft. And now that I actually need that GP, it's really nice to be making the GP and XP per hour from this. And it's just so much more relaxing than something like Giant's Foundry. So that's really all there is to it. Whenever the alt has all of the plate bodies full of inventory, then you just essentially deposit all of the Mithril plate bodies into that bank of that alt. And then you know and can keep track of exactly how many Mithril plate bodies you've made, which is kind of nice as well. The XP per hour ranges depending on how good you are with your clicks. I'll link a video of Rez's video below. Shout out to him for sharing this method with me. I knew of the method, but I didn't know how it was really done efficiently. And that was something that he showed me. So I'm thankful for that, and I'll link it in the description below, and you can see kind of the peak amount of XP and GP per hour you can make. But the GP per hour, if you are efficient, is definitely on par with something like Blood Rune Crafting. So if you prefer to do something a little bit more engaged, maybe you want to go for smithing instead of post RCXP, you could doing this method. Personally, I don't really want to go for post RCXP yet, just because of the fact that I am going to need to get all my stats to 99, and smithing is not 99 yet, so it makes sense to just get all of my GP from something that makes about the same, if not more, GP per hour than selling blood runes to Ali. Yeah, so that's pretty much all there is to it. Pretty short guide, only about 8 minutes, but hopefully this has been helpful, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.